This is Vikings United, your ultimate destination for everything Minnesota Vikings. Bringing together the most passionate fans, insightful analysts, and dynamic creators from across Skol Nation. Get ready for deep dives, spirited debates, and exclusive insights from Coach Cody. We're celebrating our community, honoring our heroes, and fueling your fandom with Pillars of Valor coffee. This is more than a show. It's a movement. This is Vikings United.
Handy.
Purple and gold, that's all we know. Purple and gold, we holla Skol. Purple and gold, this how we roll. Purple and gold, now holla Skol. Purple and gold, this how it goes. Purple and gold, we holla Skol. Purple and gold, that's how you know. Purple and gold, now holla Skol. Representing Skol, the gang, you know the name. It's a Minnesota thing. Put that on the purple blood that's running through these golden veins. Hail, sleet, snow, or rain, regardless, we gon' go to games. $1 billion stadium on Sundays, they don't close the bank. Fail, rarely get your tail buried. If it's JJ to JJ on Hail Marys, I'm like Aaron Jones, I see the field clearly. Gain 150 yards off of 12 carries and 2 tugs. That's how you crack a can of ice cold whoop ass on the Packers fan. Downtown Minneapolis, we pack the stands and put our hands above our heads when we clap our hands. That's how we clap our hands, we put our hands above our head when we clap our hands. Now clap your hands and put your hands above your head when you clap your hands. That's how we clap our hands, we put our hands above our head when we clap our hands. I said clap your hands and put your hands above your head when you clap your hands. Purple and gold, that's all we know. Purple and gold, we holla Skol. Purple and gold, this how we roll. Purple and gold, now holla Skol. Purple and gold, this how it goes. Purple and gold, we holla Skol. Purple and gold, that's how you know. Purple and gold, now holla Skol. If you from Minnesota, let me know. If you from Minnesota, here we go. Minnesota notice. Minnesota notice. I'm known to Skol and then blow the coldest. And Skol until I got scoliosis. So when we Skol, we so ferocious. So just know, just way before 84 was the dopest. We showed you who the purple and the gold is. If you from Minnesota, let me know. Right now. If you from Minnesota, here we go. Minnesota. Purple and gold, that's all we know. Purple and gold, we holla Skol. Purple and gold, this how we roll. Purple and gold, now holla Skol. Purple and gold, this how it goes. Purple and gold, we holla.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Scene Project Sports Network. I am your host, Bubba Startz. You are here tonight for Vikings United. I am joined by my co-host, Big B. What's shaking, B?
Not much, but I wish there was some football talk we could talk about today.
I know. There's nothing going on in the Vikings world whatsoever, right?
Nothing at all. No big trades, no team getting better, but no GM side. No, we got a lot to talk about. And it all started last week, so definitely can't wait to get going.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm going to get this stream shared out there because I was working on your PGA credentials while we were loading up the stream there. But I'm going to go ahead and maximize you here. I want you to kind of start with the experience. Obviously, we were at the Unreal charity softball game at the St. Paul Saint Stadium in St. Paul there, CHS Field. Why don't you kind of talk about that experience and lead us in? I'm going to get the stream shared out there and kind of give you the floor for a bit.
So last Thursday, Bubba came in from his hometown, met up at CHS Field, and we got to be part of the media for the Unreal Adam Thielen charity softball game. It started, I believe, 5:30. We had the press conference, got to meet Adam Thielen, got to hit him with some questions, not too hard. Kind of like softball questions about the game. A couple retirement questions. Then we got into the press box where I sat. Bubba set us up. Had a beautiful view. Home run derby started at 6, and I think the longest ball that was hit went to Bo Richter. I think he hit one to the warning track. And for people that play softball, those balls aren't supposed to fly that far, and they did. The game came at 7:00. Paul Allen was doing the on-field play-by-play, so you got to hear him. Bubba and his lovely wife Danielle made their way down to a little media area where the St. Paul Saints public address announcer does his thing. And they're camped out there most of the night, shaking hands, rubbing shoulders, elbows with the players as I was up in the press box calling the game. It was a great game to call. Yes, it was a charity softball game, but to be able to, say professional athletes' names, Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy, Brian O'Neill, Dallas Turner, Bo Richter, all those guys that came out, you could tell they had fun. It ended, if nobody has seen any highlights yet or heard, it ended in a bottom of the 6th home run by the host, Adam Thielen, almost like it was set up that way. Justin Jefferson had us stop our breathing for about 10 seconds when the ball got hit back up the middle. He was pitching, and he went to go glove it with his bare hand, and me and Bubba both lost our breath for a moment there and screamed, "No, don't do that." But it was a fun time. Definitely can't wait to do more stuff with the Scene Project, stuff like that. Can't wait to do it next year. I know, Bubba, your mind's already turning on how we can make it better. Yeah, there was some glitches and some mishaps on my end where I kicked out the power cord and the laptop went dead, so I lost signal. But a learning moment, but definitely a fun moment. Once the home run derby, got underway, I think that's when I kind of was like, oh my God, this is actually for real, so.
Yeah, the press conference, and I remember from being at the first, big press conference that I did and getting to interview, Sir Nick Faldo and, Chris Carter, Rondé Barber, and getting to ask them questions and that tension at first. And then you start talking and, to have these men look you in the eye and answer your question and them really make you feel like you're part of it. And to them, they don't know that we're not, right? They don't know that we're not from some other news organization and what it is. So while it can be a little unnerving for us, they made us feel right at home, out on the field. We got autographs for everybody. We actually, the gloves that we got that Danielle was showing off on the show, those are the gloves that everyone was wearing at the home run derby. And then they just sat there in front of us all night. Nobody was during the game, right? So it was cool. And they were just a pair of Vikings receiver gloves. They weren't even batting gloves.
So they had some big hands in them. I mean,
have a piece of the field. Danielle got a couple autographed jerseys. To be there, to be part of it was really awesome. I still need to get some of this, footage edited and kind of show it off for them. And reaching out for me, it was all about the networking opportunity to get to shake Aaron Jones Sr. hand, Adam Thielen, CJ Ham. All of these guys have foundations that they do a ton of philanthropic work. And to me, it was way more about how do we build a future with these organizations and with these men, but with the people behind the scenes just as much, right? So got to meet Gates, the social media manager of the Thielen Foundation, connected with her on LinkedIn now, so we can kind of stay in the know about all the things that they're doing. And yes, it's great when they get all those Vikings players together, but it's much greater when we can serve these nonprofits and to be a part of that. And because everybody wants in on the big things, right? It's how do you serve and bolster those relationships when the when the chips aren't all on the table, right? When they're out, serving the youth and being a part of these different things, and there could be more opportunities to shine a light on theirs and capture some stories around that. That's what I'm interested in. So great opportunity for us. Unreal action. They went back and forth all night. A lot of long home runs. A lot of really exciting play. JJ McCarthy out there with the team, some interesting stuff there, right? As all of, it feels like all of the Vikings fans have kind of given up on the young man, but this team hasn't. And I think that was notable during the game, that they still had a lot of love for the young man. Seeing the past players and present and how much they enjoyed it and how much they enjoyed engaging with the young fans. I think that was just really awesome. It was such a blessing to be there, to be a part of it, and to now get to, spend this next, the next year preparing for the next time, right? Because I think they were really thrilled to know that somebody had taken the initiative to broadcast it out there on YouTube. And granted, it probably doesn't have as much, as much juice on the replay as it would have live, and there really just wasn't an opportunity for us to really get that out there, outside of our small following. But next year, now being the guys that have already done it, we have a really big leg up on it to go, hey, we know the field, we know the situation we're walking into for next year. It sucks that we have to wait 360 days to do it again, but that will be ready, and it's going to be an even better product that we put out there, and really looking forward to just capturing even more of it and getting a little bit better access, maybe, right? Maybe we have all access next year and we're able to capture some more interviews and to have these guys on the field and to bring a little bit better, production to it. So really excited. You knocked it out of the park. I heard nothing but compliments on the broadcast from everybody that was tuning in live. They said you absolutely knocked it out of the park. And I got to provide a great experience for my wife, which keeps me out of the doghouse. So I'm happy.
Well, and I think too, and I think CJ put it, in a clear picture is, they're sport athletes and stuff like that, but now that he's retired, he can enjoy stuff with his kids and be part of their life. And I think that's where some of the fans don't understand that. And to hear him say that, even Thielen kind of said it too, that, he gets to work on stuff with his kids and stuff like that and help them be prepared. So there wasn't, it's not football 24/7 where he might get a day off here to go do some family things. He can do it all summer, all winter. So, but no, I can't wait for our next time and the next time I get to call a game. I think it was a fun experience for me. So.
Well, and that time might be coming a lot sooner. Really encourage everyone to go and check out the coverage. It's on the YouTube channel here, and to see what we were up to during the night. I'll find some things here. You know what, B? Before we kind of get into all the football talk, and this is someone that you're going to know a lot more of yourself, but like to address the passing of Larry Fitzgerald Sr. And I'm going to go find a couple of photos to share from our experience there. But go ahead and, let's recount the man and rest in peace to Larry Fitzgerald Sr., the father of Larry Fitzgerald Jr., the Hall of Fame wide receiver. But his dad was a Viking, and I didn't realize that he was part of the Vikings organization and part of the Vikings family for a long time. So I'll let you do that. I'm going to find some photos that we can share with the people from our game experience.
So Larry Fitzgerald Sr. Passed away yesterday, June 1st, at the age of 71. What can we say? Minnesota born, photojournalist, sports journalist for nearly 50 years. So to do something you love for that long, definitely, and then get to cover your kid in there, so there's probably a lot of different good conversations there. But to tied to the Minnesota Vikings for as long as he was. And I was listening to, of course, sports media on the way, K-Fan, on the way to work that day, that they're talking about it. And, everybody had the respect for him. And most of them were just like, I met him 100 times. I probably said 3 words to him. It was just a guy that you knew, you saw around, had the respect for. He had your respect. So thoughts and prayers definitely go out to, the Fitzgerald family, the Vikings organization, all his colleagues that he worked with. So definitely props to him and the long journey that he had. And I think in the perspective too that, we just, put into light, what life means, and, go do what you want, go have fun, follow your dreams, and if it's not, and don't get discouraged if it's a no, and, go somewhere else, but, do what you love, enjoy it, but yeah, it was sad news when I saw that, and just listening to K-Fan and talking about his meaning, I really didn't think he was that tied into Minnesota sports, but he definitely was. Just looking at here, who passed away before he was born, Minneapolis, this ball boy for the Minnesota high schooler. Yeah, so rest in peace, Mr. Senior there. So, but
yeah, hate to see it, and I would say gone too soon. I mean, a man probably in his 60s, I would assume. 71. Okay, so yeah, early 70s, still way too early. You wish you would have had some more time, but yeah, I hadn't realized until you had shared it that he was so tied into the Minnesota sports family. Yep. And had not realized that, being a relatively new fan to the team and things on my side, that it was something I wasn't aware of. But so you're mostly in the radio world that he was.
Yeah, radio world, broadcasting. There's pictures of him in the broadcast booth at some big games. But definitely, for doing something for 50 years, that's definitely longevity, and you knew you love what you do if you're doing it that long.
Yeah, pretty incredible, and I hope that we get to do it for that long ourselves, right? And to keep on, doing exactly what we've been doing here, and just really. Hearts go out to, Larry, and obviously, his kids too lost their grandpa, and that's so sad to kind of think about that, but it, lost a legend there. So really grateful that we got to. Let's share some photos up here. I'll pull us off the stage, and got a good one here. Who's that handsome guy in the middle there?
I don't know, man, but yeah, that was a fun experience. Probably 2 cool dudes that are, just out to have fun.
Really awesome to get to bring that experience to life. Pretty incredible for us to get to go and do what we do, and just to bring it to a lot bigger stage, right? A much bigger stage. Obviously, the biggest one of our career, working together, and by far the biggest one of my career as well. It was nice to have some experiences beforehand where I felt at home. Like, this wasn't my first rodeo, if you will. In fact, the rodeo a few years ago was my first real kind of big sporting event. But I've always been someone who kind of act like I belonged there, even if maybe.
Oh, you did. You really made your presence felt on the concourse there. Not afraid. I mean, I know you said if it wasn't for the lovely wife, you would have been out on the field a lot more, over by the dugouts and stuff where we were told we couldn't go, but everybody else was going there, and there was kids that you said sneaking in and stuff. So, you kept to your word and, kept to what we were told we could do and not do. And, but, at times it probably was hard to sit back and watch everybody else get where you wanted to go. So,
you know what? It didn't bother me, B. I was very grateful for the opportunity. And I didn't want to do anything to put that in jeopardy. Not because it's not just for myself, right? It's for all of us. Obviously my wife doesn't want to be embarrassed in the moment, but also I don't want to screw this up for us next year. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that we made a good appearance and, really honed in on, we're meant to be here. Right. And it's not this isn't a flash in the pan for us. This is something that we plan on doing a lot more, and really just grateful that we got to have the opportunity, but also looking forward to the next time. So it was nice to jip in there and to do our thing. Because maybe if we try to sneak in and do it, not by the book and not follow the rules, then at the end of the game, we don't get the opportunity to, snag the gloves that are there and to, and I didn't just swipe them and stick them in my pocket. Like, hey, Adam, are these yours? And then my wife doesn't get this opportunity at the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
To stand there with her signed jersey and to get to have this moment standing next to Adam Thielen. And so doing it by the book this time, although not my preference, was necessary to make sure that we set ourselves up for a great time in the future. And man, just what an experience to be there right next to these guys and to shake their hands, right? And to let them know, hey, we are very grateful for the opportunity now, but how can we serve you in the future? How can we continue to, serve your foundations and build those relationships? And, this is our in, right? So really just grateful for you. You did an awesome job. I'm so happy that we got to share that experience with you and to really watch you be in your element up there in the booth and to just be doing your thing. I think people really appreciated your broadcast and your demeanor up there. And, while we might not always be calling, the Vikings names on the back of the jersey, that I think we're building ourselves a future as a broadcast, vessel for some leagues out there. And we're going to continue to grow in this and wait for, we're going to keep knocking on doors. We're not going to wait for stuff to happen for us necessarily, but to go make those things happen.
And that's one thing too that Adam said. Just pretty much keep knocking down doors and doing what you want. But no, definitely, I'm up for the journey to do that. And I know you're on Rap Show and talk about flexing muscle. We got that little charity softball game we can flex around and be like, hey, we are able to broadcast a charity softball game. How about we come to your league and, let's do this and grow everything together, and that's one thing I think your vision is not just to exclude anybody, but let's grow it together, instead of, I'm just looking out for this scenic project, but no, you're looking out for other leagues and other opportunities. And, so I think that's definitely a good company motto, just to be able to grow together.
Yeah, well, and other creators too, right? And I want to shout out Rap, and I appreciate him having us on his program. I had a great time kicking it with him, talking ball, talking about obviously the game and everything, because they got such a great thing going on over there, not just with his channel, Vocal Vike on YouTube. Shout out to our boy RAP. But also they got Skol Fest coming up, and that was something that I was circling early on in our in our time as a, becoming a broadcaster, was like, hey, we want to be a part of these events that are going on. It's been something that's come up quite a few times. And now we know that we're going to be there, right? I don't know that they've announced the location yet officially, but the Scene Projects will be a part of Skol Fest this year. They have a date, September 12th, opening home game weekend. We're going to be up there. We're going to be broadcasting live from the event, kind of give those guys a chance to just hang with their people in person, but also providing a chance where they can come in hot mic and just sit down, right? They don't have to worry about the whole production. They can come in and sit down, talk to their people, broadcast it on all the multi-channels, obviously out onto Booms TV 2.0 as well. I don't know if we'll broadcast it live there, but obviously the replays are going out there. Shout out to you guys. If you're tuning in now, you want to check out the replay of this, download Booms TV 2.0 on your Roku, and you can check out everything there from our, time at the charity softball game. It is on Booms TV 2.0. You can see it there on the screen. Download the app. Check out all of our content there. We're going to be sharing more from Rapping the Guys too. Quick shameless plug here as well. If you want to support the show, go and buy some merch. Shop.thesceneprojects.com. We got some awesome hoodies and some new stuff up there as well. Get yourself a new coffee cup like I have to since I left mine in St. Paul. And we just
you did, huh?
I left it at Paul's house. I'll get it back in July when we're up there for the 3M Open. No big deal. Quick word from our sponsor at Odyssey Exteriors, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about Vikings' new GM, Nolan Teasley, who just got hired over the weekend as well. So excited about that. Quick word from Odyssey Exteriors, and we will be right back. In Minnesota, your home faces it all. Brutal winters, pounding hail, and summer storms that don't hold back. That's why homeowners trust Odyssey Exteriors, your local, family-owned exterior experts based right here in Burnsville. From roofing and siding to gutters, windows, and decks, we use Midwest tough materials and certified crews to protect what matters most. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and a reputation for integrity, we treat your home like it's our own. Call 952-923-0062 or visit OdysseyEXT.com today to schedule your free exterior inspection. Odyssey Exteriors, built Midwest tough, built for you. Really appreciate Cole Quinnell there and Odyssey Exteriors for supporting the program, supporting the events that we're doing, growing with us. It's going to be an incredible run here as the season gets going, and can't wait. They have obviously been in off-season training activities, team activities this week. A lot of talk about the QB competition, but the Vikings made a huge move in their front office, hiring Nolan Teasley as their new GM, filling the role that Rob Brzezinski had been in. That he had been interim following in. Rob goes back to his position in the organization. Although he was a candidate for the full-time GM job, I think it was obvious that they really wanted to go with someone that had the, player development and scouting background, which Nolan has in spades. A former D2 running back himself. His background, he rose through the ranks, 13 seasons in Seattle with the Seahawks organization. He was an intern first and then in the scouting department, director of pro personnel, and then serving as assistant GM. His philosophy, more traditional and process-driven, not analytics necessarily, highly disciplined. This guy is an animal. He is about his work, and it seems like he is maniacal about the details, which I really like that. Emphasizes talent evaluation at both the collegiate and professional level. So it's not just about scouting these guys in college. It's about the continued scouting process and the development of players. A player we talk about a lot, Jordan Addison, who has been getting by on that, 40 time for the last 3-4 years and assessing that talent. I feel like that Nolan's going to bring in a mentality that, like, you have to prove it every day with this team. We ain't riding on what you've done. It's what have you done for me lately? And I really like that. Vikings finalized the hire after the draft here, concluding this multi-week search. They started with, I think, 10 applicants. They narrowed it down to 5 finalists and then finally settled on Nolan Teasley. B, how do you feel about the hire and the GM that we got here to lead this organization into a new era?
Well, I mean, it would have been nice if they would have, got the GM done, prior to the draft, but they had a plan after, they let the old GM go, which is fine, and of course, now you got a guy in that comes from a winning background. And it sounds like he's a motivator too, that he wants to get the job done. Because I was listening to K-Fan when they broke it. They're giving him some backstory. After his football career ended, he went into business world. Kind of got bored with that. Got back into
probably hated every second of it.
Got back into the sports world, and supposedly the rumor is that he sent a letter to every GM or every team possible to want to get back into football. Wanted to be an intern. Became an intern at 30 and moved up from there. And he was part of both championship teams. So he's seen it. He's helped it. So he's built a culture of winning.
To go take an unpaid intern position at 30 years old when you've already been working in the workforce, that shows you just how much – one, he's passionate about the game, and two, he's willing to bet on himself. And I love that. I wasn't surprised, or I was surprised by the hire, but not in a bad way like this team usually does to us, right?
And that's the thing. The only thing that's concerning right now is they went back to, okay, now we got three people to try to make things right. You got the GM, you got the owner, you got, Brzezinski, I guess. He's the money guy. And then you got the coach. So, it's just like, okay, how are we going to make this? And then you can't forget about B-Flow either. I mean, because he's in the background too. And,
he's got a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, try to make everybody happy. Try to build this team from three different visions into one. I mean, it could be a battle. So it'll be interesting to see how it moves forward. But props to him. Like you said, he bet on himself at the age of 30 to get back into where he wants to be. And now he's, mid-40s. And he's a GM of a professional football team to hope to be the one to right the ship and sail it home here and bring in a Super Bowl contending team.
Well, and what's really amazing about his, not just the story, but the situation he's coming into is that this team isn't a bottom feeder, right? Which most teams make a change at the general manager position. They are, at the bottom of the league, and you're really in a rebuild. And this team is not there. This team needs, really, you rebuilt this season, this offseason through the draft.
They're in a competitive rebuild. They're not in a full meltdown.
Right. Well, and I don't know that it necessarily needs a rebuild. You just needed to refresh the talent base.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
To do that through the draft this year, I think that the scouting department necessarily didn't need a teardown, but it was obvious that the man that was making the final decisions in Kwesi was not making the right decisions at the end of the day. Yeah. Why he's not with the league with the team anymore. Also probably not getting another job in the league for that matter. So you bring in someone here who is a football mind. He knows the game. He knows it from multiple different levels, working his way up to that assistant GM level, and now to be the general manager of a team. Now, that said, because he's a young man and he kind of has, KOC is a younger coach too, so he's not much older than Nolan is. Rob's kind of the old guy in the group, a little bit maybe of the curmudgeon, but I don't mind that guy being the one that's holding the purse strings, right? Like,
and that's the thing. That's what Rob's the best at, is that he can get the contracts to work out. He can work the money angle. He can, he's the number guy. It's definitely somebody that I would want in my back pocket, be like, hey, if we get this guy, can we make it work? And
it's going to be interesting, B, to see what his big splash move is, right? Is it cutting ties with Jordan Addison? Is it, finding?
Yeah, but would that be a big, like, oh my God,
the Vikings? Because I think you could have done it already. I think other teams, other championship teams, dealing with this and the lack of production and things that maybe already made the move and maybe took less than what they do. The thing coming in now that I really like is that you have someone coming in from the outside that doesn't have any emotional ties to these picks, these players, this thing at all, that they're coming in now and they don't owe anybody a damn thing. And that is the one thing coming in at the top. It's going to be interesting to see where they really factor in how much control does he have? Does he have full control of this team to make every decision with nobody kind of being able to tell him no? Right.
Yeah.
Except, and that's not to say that you just come in and you start cutting and trading and everything and tearing things down to the studs. I don't think this team needs that. But does he have autonomy? Right. And can he make those decisions? And whether he looks for input from different guys or not. Obviously, KOC was heavily involved in the interviewing process, whether you agree with that or not. Me and Rap definitely had some things to go back and forth on his show, kind of talking about that. Oh, that a little unorthodox for a guy to be in the process of hiring his new boss, right? But does he have the authority if this team is underperforming, as we've said, over the course of the first 6 weeks of the season? They come out and lay some eggs and go 2-4 with what we feel like is a competitive roster. Does he have the authority to say, hey, man, this KOC guy ain't getting it done and he's being too rigid with his play calling and his unwillingness to give it up? Will he make that call to look down at him and say, you either give it up or you lose your job? Or does he just say, hey, man, this thing's kind of run its course. Brian Flores has proven himself with this defense. We're going to roll with B-Flow as the head coach of this team before you sink this season. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out now.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting how it all plays out. Definitely, I mean, like you said, he has no ties to anybody on this roster. He didn't pick anybody. And, of course, I mean, people are going to say, well, you mean he's going to get rid of Jefferson? No, I mean, he did bring him in, but he's not going to get rid of the best guy in the league. You know, so, I mean, he's going to go forward. I'm with you, Bubba. I'm kind of waiting to see what his big move is going to be. You know, now, do I agree that, you know, KOC should have been in the process of hiring his new boss? You know, it's kind of like saying, should your superstar athlete be involved in hiring the new coach? I mean, yes and no. You know,
yeah, you're going to find opinions on both sides of that one too. And we don't know how involved in the interview process necessarily that KOC was. I haven't necessarily seen reporting on like he was in on every single interview. He was there for every moment of it.
Well,
I don't know if it was like that.
I think out of the final 5 or 6 guys they were interviewing, I mean, KOC had ties with like all but 2 of them, I think. So
he's also been in the league now for a long time too. It's hard not, it's a small pool, right? Everybody knows everybody. They've been in different organizations and been around the league. So I don't necessarily put a ton of stock into that. It's easy to have time. I mean, right now we can say we have ties to TJ Hawkinson, right? Well, you
do. I mean, you actually got to interview him and, sit down with them, or I should say sit down with them, but no,
next to him, he's a big dude still.
It's going to be interesting to see what this year brings, if they turn it around. And the thing is let's say we turn it around. Well, was it the turnaround or was it the influence on the new GM? I mean, now people are going to rub heads that way. So it's just, if they do start 2-4, like you said, okay, KLC, we got to cut ties with you. I mean, or give up the play call and let somebody else call the plays and see what happens. But
yeah, I mean, you've already let go of the general manager of the team that was there. So who's kind of next on the list? And you just recommitted to Brian Flores in the offseason. So to me, the first person on the chopping block at this point is the head coach play caller. Especially if this offense stumbles, because I really feel like the defense is going to gel rather quickly. A lot of talk about Hitman staying in shape already and talking, so I mean, things are coming out. Gotta love OTAs. We're going to get more into that talk. I don't know how closely you've been following it. I've watched a couple of highlights from Tyler, a couple good throws from JJ.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with preseason. It's just like they're going to hype it up. I mean, last year they're hyping up how JJ looked. This year it's, look at Kyler had 4 great throws to Jennings. Oh, McCarthy had 4 great throws to, Addison. Oh, Addison's running, like a bent out of hell. JJ's doing, Jefferson's doing his.
Yeah, he better.
Yeah, so it's all the perspective of who's reported and stuff. I mean, granted, they're not going to come out and say, "Oh, JJ looks like garbage," or McCarthy, Kyler can't see over the 7-foot offensive line, so he threw 3 picks in the OT. In practice. They're not going to say that. They're going to definitely say all the good things, but, we'll see what preseason game 1 does and make judgment there. I don't put too much stock in OTCs and all the off-season workouts and stuff like that. I want to see what they are in game action. That's why I don't put much stock into the combine, because you're seeing people not in their element. Now with pads on, of course they're going to be a little bit faster moving and stuff like that. Give me the pads and let me see what rolls. I mean, Coach Cody could probably say the same thing. He'd rather see people in pads and not just running around with no pads.
Noticeable, though, is it looks like mechanically JJ's leg kick seems to be gone, and that was something that we pointed at a lot. Now Kyler Murray, a little more entrenched athlete in that, but making a deal of that. I think everybody's going to make a big deal out of anything. And I just saw I saw a clip from ESPN and one guy that said anybody with a heartbeat could beat JJ McCarthy in a competition. And it's just like, man, this is why I don't watch your networks. Right? You guys just talk out the side of your necks and you say the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
And those will be the same guys that come out week 7. The Vikings are 7-0 and be like, oh my God, McCarthy's lighting it up. He's an MVP candidate. I had faith in him since day one. You just had to give him time, because that was the same thing we were hearing with Caleb Williams last year. See, now look at, he's growing into his own. You got 18 games under your belt. That's the average a quarterback needs. Now let's see what's going on with them. I mean, everybody doesn't. They don't want to look like they don't know what to talk about. That's why they always have to backtrack.
You know what? So I got a way crazy prediction. What I think best for the organization. Check this out. Okay. So Kyler starts, plays your first 7 games, maybe goes 500, but looks like the same player that he's always been. Meanwhile, JJ McCarthy is really starting to turn a corner in his development behind the scenes. One of the starting quarterbacks in the league gets hurt, and you're able to trade Kyler for some serious draft capital after only signing him to a vet minimum deal. And you're able to restock the coffers, selling a guy that would not be on your team probably next year anyway, because you're not going to pay him and you made the decision. Talk about a move for a young GM to entrench himself into Vikings lore. Nolan Teasley, make it so.
Well, and that's the whole thing. That's the big what if. I mean, what if the Vikings are at 500 at the trade deadline, but Kyler Murray is just lighting it up stat-wise? I mean, definitely you can move him. I mean, you're definitely going to want to, if you know he's not going to be the guy next year, you got to move him. And if he does have, a better year, above average year, you're going to have to pay him. So do you want to pay him? And then, what's that do to the kid? And the thing is everybody's got to worry about what the thought is on JJ, Justin Jefferson, because he's the key factor. Because we lose him. I mean, that's a big chunk. That's a big shoes to fill. If we have to move him because he's not happy.
Yeah, and again, everybody talks about that and him wanting out, and I just don't.
I don't think he wants out, but I mean, but sooner or later,
personality. He's a competitor. He's committed to this team. He loves the city of Minneapolis. He loves the Minnesota Vikings fan base. You can see what it means to him on every level. I don't see him ever. It would have to be so bad, and even in the worst season that he's had, that he's still got his 1,000 yards. And I'm sure these personal stats probably don't mean a lot to him anyway. I mean, the guy's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer pretty much no matter what he does, right? He could quit now and be there. What's up, Paul? Good to see you, man.
What's up, Paul?
Talking new. Cody's not here. He's fired. No, that's why he's not here. And so you can't fire someone and then expect them to show up the next week. Paul, we're just talking OTAs, making some crazy predictions about trading Kyler Murray mid-season for some serious draft capital.
And that could be something. I mean, it might not even have to make headlines at mid-season. The Vikings are, we're talking 2-4 going into the bye week or something like that. You're talking about KLC maybe getting the, boot. Kyler Murray could be that one too. I mean, we cut him. We don't get that big of a cap hit because we're only paying him
No, you trade him. No.
Yeah.
He is trade. You make him trade bait, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about that.
Well, no, and I get that, but I mean,
because nobody has to pay him, right? He's like the perfect trade. So you're like, cool, you want him on the deal that we got him for. We need 3 first-round picks. Right?
Yeah, we're not going to get
overall pick. We need a first, your second, and another first net. Like, you can ask for the world because they're not trading for a contract either. And I think that's something that's getting massively overlooked in this process. And I don't know if this was in the cards there anyway, because that puts you in a position in a very, very draft heavy in a quarterback heavy and better class this year, that if you think, because why would you want to keep the guy who's going to be approaching 30 here soon, that you're going to have to pay 40, 50 mil when you could go out and potentially get a first or 2 firsts for a guy? I mean, what is the price tag? He's the number 1 overall pick that you're paying no money for. And I think that's
the thing too. There, it also depends on how good he's doing here, because if he puts up the numbers that we saw our quarterbacks do last year, you're not going to pay $30-40 million for him.
People will. No. He's put enough on tape, B. I think you're wrong. I don't think what he does this season matters at all. I don't think his stat matters at all. There are people that believe in Kyler Murray, the player, right?
It might be the fact that maybe it's not in the NFL. Maybe his NFL career is over if he doesn't put up numbers. He goes plays baseball.
Oh no! People love Kyler Murray. He's supposed to be the MVP this season for the Vikings, man. Listen how people talk about him. He is extremely valuable, and I think you're going to get hated on by the fan base who are like, this could have been our guy. And even if he goes on, you could set your team up with so much top tier talent with something like that. I just don't think enough people are talking about it. And I don't think especially if JJ McCarthy, and I think this team's going to run differently too. If this team has a running game and leans on their running game, you make the playoffs last year, right? And JJ McCarthy gets another game to develop and maybe shows you a little bit more in the playoffs and shows
and that's the thing too, is you also gotta fix those mistakes that cost you those games. We talked about heavily that Addison missing the first 3 games, then all the stuff that happened overseas, that could have been a game changer overseas. We could have walked away with both of those victories.
The return in the Bears game where guys blew their assignments.
Yep.
I mean, it was a few plays during the season, and people are looking at this Vikings team completely different. So I think, I would be very intrigued to see the talks that are going on when the trade deadline is approaching, and because it happens, injuries happen. I mean, think about the Indianapolis Colts and losing Daniel Jones. What would they give up to get a Kyler Murray on their team for a vet minimum deal? What are you willing to give up? Right.
Well, but that's the thing too. You talked about the Colts there. They're in another situation like the Vikings, that they got a young guy. They got 2 young guys, as a matter of fact, sitting in the wings. One, Anthony Richardson, that they had a big high hopes for and has done nothing. You got I can't think of the guy that they like now. Leonard, I think his name is. And then of course you got Daniel Jones. So I mean, they're kind of the same boat that the Vikings are in. Let's see where we go at. We saw what Daniel Jones did. We know Anthony Richardson ain't the guy we thought he was going to be, but I mean, and then like you said, next year going into a heavy draft class for quarterbacks, how many teams are going to be willing to, risk draft picks? I mean, unless you got a quarterback.
Not trading with a team, you're trading with someone who has playoff aspirations, right? The teams that are tanking to the bottom, they're not trading their first round pick for a guy right now. But teams that you would be looking at would be those middle tier teams that are like, man, if we have that guy, we would be in the playoffs and could make a run at this right now, right? And it's not just the quarterback. What happens in a quarterback-heavy class, though, is that guys that would go top 10 now fall into the 12 to 15 range. And if you could have 2 or 3 picks in that range and their second-round picks in a what they're calling already a historic deep draft, it changes the look of this team. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled on that. It's way too early to tell. It's to me, it's all dependent on the development of JJ McCarthy out of the spotlight, right? I think Kyler has enough.
What's up, Daniel?
I think Kyler, just because of what he's done in this league and already being there, and I don't think it's a slight to JJ McCarthy, the player. And I think a lot of fans are going to look at that and be like, he's done. And a lot of fans already are, that he ain't the guy. He ain't going to be there. But they could already be seeing stuff in OTAs that they're seeing, corrections that have been made mechanically, little things that they're looking at that we're not seeing in the 4 highlights that the Vikings are posting, right? Like there's not a lot of access in these OTAs.
And the thing is those people that are talking about that McCarthy's done and, we need to move on from him.
Water, young man. Ruining our stream.
Yeah, he's, those guys are going to be the ones that when McCarthy does do good, they're going to shy away until he has that bad game again. Be like, oh, see, I told you he was garbage. Okay, where were you with those other 4 victories that he had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, stuff like that, so.
I think this team has gotten so much better. It's crazy to look at the talent. I think you improved at every position that we talked about you needed to. Now, maybe it wasn't like the big splashes that you thought it was going to be. It wasn't the names that ESPN was talking about. But I think this team got dogs at all of the spots that they needed it. They got help on the offensive line. They got help at wide receiver. They got help in the running back room. They got help in the safety and the cornerback position. And you got a monster at linebacker in that second round pick, right? You got
the monster, you got the,
and defensive tackle.
Yeah, right? with Big Citrus there. So
you've got some talent, man. So
that defense is probably going to take a lot of stress off if healthy, and they can come together. And Beeflo seems to be that guy with the magic wand. If Banks can, if Banks and Big Citrus can be the players that they're projected to be, especially Banks coming off the foot injury, that defensive line is going to be scary. The linebackers are going to be scary.
You've got disruptors at every level of the defense, because I think Jacoby Thomas can be a disruptor from that safety position as well. And
then just think, if you bring back Harrison Smith, I mean, he was already a disruptor already. Now you bring him into with more disruptors. I mean, if I'm like Coach Cody, who's a defensive-minded player, I'm loving this defense. I mean,
they're going to be a problem. I right after the draft, I looked at what they had done, and knowing the coach that Beeflo is, and not just him, but the staff that he has to be able to coach these guys up. I think it's going to be really impressive what they're putting together, and really able to attack offenses now and dictate play instead of kind of more playing a bend, don't break style of defense that you saw from them, especially early last year. It started to get a little bit better in the end as Dallas Turner came on and started to apply more pressure. Now you have him with more experience, a little bit heavier, a little bit more stout, a little bit more experience with his hands and knowing what guys are trying to do to him. I think it's really we're going to turn a lot of heads, and I think they can do it early. And I think that defense can dictate some of these games early in the season. I know a lot of people are kind of picking us to split against the Bears and Green Bay, which one you win, which one you don't.
That's always the MO with, the inter-division games is, you kind of like, okay,
2-0 in those games because your defense is on fire, and Kyler Murray is able to give you something that they haven't seen out of a Vikings offense ever, right? A mobile quarterback, you haven't really seen it. Even Dante wasn't. I mean, he could move a little bit, but he wasn't Kyler Murray.
In his first few years was the mobile quarterback. He was a bigger dude.
But even then, I mean, Kyler Murray has breakaway speed from back there. There aren't a lot of guys that can do what he does. I would be really if we don't put both quarterbacks on the field a couple of times early in the season and leave you going, what do we do?
But the thing is
a sideways pass to Kyler Murray in the flat, a backwards pass to Kyler in the flat. What are you going to do when you got, Addison and Jefferson streaking down the field and 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time? There's some tricks up the sleeve, and I bet we see them early, and I wouldn't be surprised if you saw them in those first 2 games against your division rivals. Because if you go 2-0 to start the season, you are in control moving forward. right? And you have put the entire, not just the division, but the NFC on notice, especially if that defense is starting out there. Now, obviously, we're in our way too early OTAs.
Well, and the thing is, too, is how dominant are those first two games? I mean, if you go out there and just, put the pedal to the metal and you're definitely going to have everybody head shriveling and shaking and be like, oh, my God, the Vikings are for real, and what's going to happen. But, again, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but a lot of it's going to have to be that offensive line. How can they protect? I mean, yes, Kyler Murray's got that breakaway speed and he makes things develop, but you still need an offensive line that can hold those guys off for a good 10 seconds,
Well, and no, you need somebody that can hold the line for 4 seconds. That would be nice. I don't think we even sniffed that last year on average. It was pretty bad. No. But I think getting these guys moving downhill and running the ball more, which was really something I thought was positive about Frank Smith coming in and joining this organization, to be that extra voice in KOC's head to say, hey, man, we got to run the ball here, right? Yeah. You got to give these guys, you got to get them moving downhill. It's going to open these things. I promise you. I know you want to throw the ball. I know you want to do all these things from the backfield and you want to run this team, but you have to run the ball. And I think that extra voice, because what happens during the course of a game is you kind of get stuck in your tendencies and you're starting to call the plays that have worked for you before, and you're getting away from the things that you should be doing with the things that you think you should be doing. And I think just having another trusted voice, and I think, that's what inspires me a little bit with Frank Smith being there, is it's someone that is a trusted voice. It is not your Wade Phillips, the ghost of Wade Phillips in there, and being in the voice and not speaking up. You have someone from without the organization that came from the outside now to say, hey man, like, you somebody that's willing to stand up to these guys, right? And I think that's what's needed. And I hope that was also what Nolan Teasley brings to the table as well, to say, hey, you need to get out there and run the ball, man. Like, you need to run this team how it is, and to be that. And whether not during the game necessarily, but, after the game when they're doing kind of their debriefing sessions, to be like, hey, I want to see more of this from this team. This is how it should be doing it. And now you have a football guy in that GM spot to be able to put a little pressure on there, which KOC has not had for his entire career, right?
And that's the thing too, is, with Nolan coming in, he's got a blueprint on what a championship team looks at. I mean, yeah, they had two running backs and one of them left. What are they going to do? Well, but again, they had two running backs. They got the ball rolling. I mean, our longest run came from our wide receiver. I mean, that should not happen.
That's already going to change. That's already, I guarantee you, we see a 50-plus yard run out of our new cornerback, Dramon Claiborne, guaranteed, right? He just has that home run speed. If these guys can open a hole, he can hit it and absolutely be gone. We're going to see some runs. And you still have Aaron Jones Sr., who is reliable in the backfield as a third down blocking running back and can catch the ball. And you put Jordan Mason in the position that I think he should have been all year last year as being your workhorse back, a guy that can carry it, 15 to 20 times a game and really wear a defense down because of his style. He does not have that breakaway speed, unfortunately, right? But he's got enough juice to really hit guys in the hole and not shy away from contact. I really think you're seeing something interesting developing here. It all comes back to the head coach, play caller, and what he's going to do to utilize the weapons that he has around him. You got a third down receiver now in Juwan Jennings, who can go up and get him. You saw him. I don't know if you saw the highlight where he kind of tips the ball to himself and catches it. That's something that you don't have from anyone else on the team. And he's big. He's a thick wide receiver. And I know they don't have pads on yet, but seeing him out there and the strength that he has to fend off some of these guys, JJ's going to beat you with his agility and his speed. Not to say that he's not strong, but he's also not necessarily built like that. Juwan Jennings is probably, I would say, 15, 20 pounds heavier than a Justin Jefferson. And maybe doesn't have the speed that JJ does, but man, the ability to fend off these receivers and to clear out space for himself, I think is something that we've been missing, because you don't even get that from the tight end group. I mean, Oliver a little bit, but Oliver doesn't have the speed to separate. Hawk doesn't necessarily have that strength.
And that's not what your tight end's supposed to do. He's supposed to be there to block, and he's supposed to be like the last option.
Not just the size to do it, but the want to, right? The grit to get in there and to block guys. I think that was really missing from this team last year. Are you dying, dude?
No, my dog slipped on something. So Jennings is what is he? 6'3", 212, compared to Jefferson, who's 6'1", 195. So he's
almost 20 pounds, man.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
And then you got Jordan Addison, 5'11" at 179. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not comparing myself physically to the specimen that Justin Jefferson is by any means, but I'm like 6'1", 210, right? Juwan Jennings is more me, a little bit taller than Jefferson. Jefferson is a slight guy, but he beats you with home run hitting speed and the agility and the mentality of I'm going to get open and you can't cover me, right? And
that's the thing too. What the Vikings have to do is they have to get those other aspects of the game working to give Jefferson that long home run. Because if people know that we're trying to get it to Jefferson, they know it's going to be on a deep ball, so they're going to cover him. But now if we got the guys that can shorten up that field, catch it over the middle, make some plays, that's going to open up the door for Jefferson to not be double coverage or triple coverage at sometimes. So that's something that KOC offense has to look at.
And the reason that KOC leans on the deep crosser so much is that it's always open with JJ because you have to respect his home run hitting speed, right? And he can get out of that break so fast that at 20 yards, he's always open, right? Like he's always open because once he takes off the line, the safeties are dropping 30 yards deep and they're not going to come up and be able to jump that route if you have a guy that can anticipate that and get that ball in there. And I think you started to see that from McCarthy towards the end of last year. Kyler Murray thrives in those intermediate routes as well and has the accuracy to float that ball in there. So I think this team's going to be super dangerous. We've added so much that I think a lot of people are sleeping on this team. People picking this team to be the division is wild to me. And I just don't see it. And I think dangerous no matter who the quarterback is, to be perfectly honest.
And I think all the experts and a lot of fans from other teams and even some Viking fans, they're looking at the old story that if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have that leader, you don't have that guy you count on. So and with our quarterback issues, that's what they're looking at, is that we don't have stable play at the quarterback position to where we could be a contender. So a lot has to be with KOC, the quarterbacks, that offensive line to get us to start, winning games and making people's head move and be like, well, we were 100% wrong on the Vikings and their issues. They fixed it, and now they're heading to the playoffs, so.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to those conversations. B, I don't want to keep us too long tonight. We kind of covered everything that we had to. Running the show all by our lonesome tonight. Another shout out to our sponsors at Odyssey Exteriors. Make sure you're calling them. If you got any roofing problems, it's storm season, guys. We know that your roof has been taking a pounding. Mine has. We've had an insurance claim on ours already, so I'll be calling Cole and the guys to come and do ours as well, although I don't think they service South Dakota, unfortunately. But everybody else's roof on the team is going to be covered by them. Call 952-923-0062. Have them come out, free estimate. Cole and the boys are going to take care of you. They're going to work with your insurance company. Make sure you get the most money and get what you deserve, and they're really going to take care of you.
Tell Danielle sent you.
Yeah, that's right. B, absolutely a pleasure working with you, man. Had a great time.
Pleasure.
Meet you in person. I look forward to doing it a lot more. I've already been reaching out to the St. Paul Saints organization, letting them know how good of a time that we had in their building, hoping that we can come back and do some more for them. Just got word this weekend. I'm actually going to be in Sioux Falls with the Sioux Falls Canaries. They got a kids youth camp going on. So I'm going to go up there, bring the cameras along, get to meet everybody up there in person and shake some hands and get to see the inside of the building there. film a little bit of content with all the kids there, have something to share. And we've been talking to the Northwoods League as well. Had Ed Tuttle from the Traverse City Pit Spitters up there in Michigan on the show today. That's going to be airing on Friday. Great convo with him. Northwoods League is in full effect right now. College World Series is going on. Check out 789 next week. We're going to have some really great content for you guys there. Just thrilled, man. The network is kicking ass right now. We got a lot of great golf shots that are going out. Well, I mean, the shots aren't great, but we got some funny content. If you like laughing at people on the golf course, you can laugh at me in pods. We've been putting a bunch out every single day. We're here not just for the news, but we're here for some levity from your day. Have a laugh with us. We're just regular guys and gals out here who love sports, who love our Vikings. But we love being together to talk sports with our friends. And we hope that's why you come here to the network and why you keep coming back. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give us a follow on all the social media as well. We're all over Instagram, Facebook. Haven't made it over onto TikTok yet with the Projects Network, but when we get a 18-year-old intern that knows what the hell they're doing over there, we'll be sure to get some more content over there as well. Appreciate you guys. B, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me as always.
No.
Everybody, we'll see you next Tuesday for Vikings United. Join us this Saturday on the Scene Project Sports Network for the Scratch Project Cut Line and some great golf content from us there. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.
In Minnesota, your home faces it all. Brutal winters, pounding hail, and summer storms that don't hold back. That's why homeowners trust Odyssey Exteriors, your local, family-owned exterior experts based right here in Burnsville. From roofing and siding to gutters, windows, and decks, we use Midwest tough materials and certified crews to protect what matters most. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and a reputation for integrity, we treat your home like it's our own. Call 952-923-0062 or visit odysseyext.com today to schedule your free exterior inspection. Odyssey Exteriors, built Midwest tough, built for you.